Lastly, we have Fidesium?
Fidesium.
Thank you very much. Sometimes it's a bit hard, you know, with the vowels. But the stage is yours, and also good luck.
So hi, my name's Abe. I'm one of the founders and CTO at Fidesium. We're a Web3 DevSecOps business bringing security automation to the space. Now, as we all know, hacks and scams are legion in this space. Everybody you speak to will have a flavor of story of how they lost 4, 5, 6 figures to hacks, to scams, to drainers, right? Chainalysis put out a report every year. In 2024, $3.8 billion were lost to cyber threat events in this space. So why is this, right? There's a number of reasons why this is true. They're interlocking and complicated, but one of the reasons is actually in Chainalysis's own report. It turns out only roughly 5% of protocols in this space have any kind of audit, and 94% of protocols with deployed code are out of date on their audit, i.e. the code deployed and the code audited are not the same. Now, the question is why? Well, there's a few reasons, but in a nutshell, audits are manual, slow, their lead times are measured in months, their processing times in weeks, they're expensive, often charging 5, 6 figures for this manual review, and as demonstrated, they are out of date near enough as soon as they're done for a protocol with any significant level of activity. But we at Fidesium believe there's a better way. This problem is largely solved in Web 2 by companies like Snyk, Aikido, and their ilk, DevSecOps providers. What if you could connect your GitHub import a project from your GitHub, run a scan, which on the back end clones this repository, spins up a Docker container, and points a battery of tests, static analysis, and AST analytics primarily at it. We got about 2,500 detectors written, and boom. Now, we find a number of things there. We vary, obviously, in scope and significance. We find gas vulnerabilities. We find reentrancy attacks, privilege escalations, Oracle failures, a variety of things. We have 2,500 detectors. But the point is, you went from sign up to scan in, I don't know, about 30 seconds. Now, on top of all of this, I'm sure you all love talking to salespeople, but what if instead you could just look at a website, see a price? You enter your credit card, you sign up, you get a scan. And I've actually got 5 seconds to go.
Amazing, amazing. Straight to the point, no fluff, just raw demonstration. Judges, now is your time to pick it apart or tell us your thoughts or questions.
Can I go first? So usually, like, what happened, like, to our project lately was we get a lot of, like, inbound bounty requests, and it's usually like people using ChatGPT or tools that are similar, but producing a lot of, like, let's say, noise, false positives, yeah, and like we waste even more time. So like, I saw, like, I don't know, 60 critical things. I don't know, like. This all seems like very, perhaps, like artificially inflated.
So that particular protocol that we use for testing, I don't know if you noticed it, the repository was called test-contract-stable-3. It's obviously full of criticals because we want to test our software, right? It's just what we use for demonstrations. I'm no longer on screen, but I actually have a redacted report from a customer that I could have also shared if I had more time. The rate of criticals we find is significantly less than that for real projects, right? So that particular report had 2 criticals in it. One was a privilege escalation attack, and one was an Oracle feed failure, right? Or the potential for an Oracle feed failure, rather. So winding this all back, where you started this question was you get inbound bug bounty requests from people using ChatGPT, right? And in a nutshell, we don't currently use any AI. under the hood. It's all much more traditional techniques because of exactly this problem, right? Like wrapping, Claude, ChatGPT, etc. You will find some stuff, you'll also miss stuff, and you'll find a bunch of stuff that isn't there. This is ultimately high precision work, and AI just isn't there yet.
So I think like a great thing to do would be like if you buy or like let's say commission a traditional audit and like give the same code base to your tool and just like sort of compare them.
Comparison, right?
Yeah. So we've stolen customers from some of the traditional audit houses. I'm not going to be naming names here. We've saved one of our customers 700 grand they had spent with major auditor A before signing up with us. And they have now renewed the service twice. So it certainly suggests that they might be happy. We've also taken their audit reports that were provided to them by said auditor, and this was a year and a half ago now, that was the first set of detectors we built to match that performance, obviously. We've also benchmarked against, so Halburn publishes their audits publicly, all of them. Now, we don't have access to the code underlying the audits, at least not always, but we have gone through those audits, and we are continually generating new detectors and ways to find those bugs for our customers.
Okay. So you are past the point of just running basic existing stuff like Slither and basic detectors. You have some more advanced stuff.
Correct. We've built our own, often on top of Slither, not always, but often on top of Slither. But yeah, way, way past that.
Okay.
So a nice value prop would be like you could actually like sort of have a continuous, let's say, auditor versus like you audit like the code at one point in time, which is done by a human like or an agency. So like I think that's a very nice value prop.
Do you have any public benchmarks? Because if you have an automatic scanning tool, like, I mean, yes, many projects audited are not public, but you could take the commit in the audit, take 100, 200 audits, and do you have a public benchmark? Because at this point, I've seen a lot of what I'm an auditor, okay? I've seen a lot of what the automated tools do, mostly useless. Even OpenZeppelin has a tool, it will spit out a bunch of issues, like 60, 70 of those, about 2 may be useful, and that's it. So the question is, do you have any real benchmarks on finding real issues, especially more complicated correlated stuff, multi-contract systems, and you're not catching anything with Slither?
1 more minute.
So, okay. The short answer is no, not at present, right? We are still relatively young as a business. We have not gotten to publishing public benchmarks yet. It is on our roadmap, but it's not something we've done to date. Multi-contract systems and bugs, so we do find some things in those systems because ultimately, like I'm cutting out a few steps there, right? Like we go through like transpilation step, we basically generate a flat contract of what it might look like once it's deployed on chain and then run against that as well, which helps us identify some issues. Yeah, that's it.
If you can just give some estimates, because you would expect if you pay in auditing for millions of dollars, they would do a better job than your platform, right? So there's a scale here, right? Like I think it's fantastic, by the way, because I think like the reason why we don't have enough audits is because it's so damn expensive, and that you're bringing the cost down in a way like this that at the same time might not be as thorough as the other type of audit. It does democratize that to more people, and overall I think this is great for the space. So yeah, really well done.
Okay. Now, judges, please let's rank Fidesium. Okay, are we ready? 3, 2, 1. What do we see? 37. Amazing. A big round of applause for Fidesium, guys. All right, we've made it to the end of the OtterTrack.